Welcome back to another episode of Frank's Unsolicited Advice. And this week is Thanksgiving week. And I was thinking about it. If the episode I put out 2 weeks ago, if I would have just waited into this week and did it, it would have made all this easier. I didn't put one out last week because the vibe in the crib was off. It wasn't right. I just didn't have a space for me to do it. My mom wasn't in it, so I chose not to put that out. I'd rather give you content. And just talking to my wife now, I just started thinking about mad different things I want to talk about. So I got on this mic and I said, you know what, I'm going to talk about it. But it's Thanksgiving weekend. And I feel like sometimes we Thanksgiving week, not weekend, excuse me, Thanksgiving week. And it got me thinking about how sometimes we get so wrapped up on what we don't have that we forget about the things we do have. We get so wrapped up on the negative things that happen that we don't realize the positive in those negatives. And for some people, they never had a positive. It was all negative, Some people's situation was just raggedy all around. And that's just something they got to deal with. And as they get older, they change it, hopefully. Or some people can't overcome that and they stay in it. But looking at what we go through and reflecting in the mirror, you should be able to find a positive in that negative, right? A positive thing that's going to change everything. And what I mean by that is that as me, I look at, I was very fortunate. I was very blessed to have, a family, both parents, even my sister, my older sister, Brenda. It was never or you're the half sister. You know what I'm saying? You're the sister from a previous relationship. Boo. No. It was always love. Like even to this day, I can go to Florida visit, and if she's at my parents' house, I could tell her, "Hey, make me something to eat," and she'll make it out of the strength that's my sister and she loves me, And me and my younger sister, our relationship wasn't always great. We wasn't always as close, and we're closer now as we get older. I guess maturity hit, and we both matured. But we talk once a week at least now, or maybe more, when we wasn't even doing that before. So sometimes you just got to reflect on the things you have. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for having that because some people don't have that in this world. Some people can't pick up the phone and talk to their siblings. Some people don't have that relationship with their parents as far as to be able to communicate and talk about problems. Some people live in a fantasy world or they depict the image of the people above them to be something that they're not, to make up for what they aren't. And, thinking about the season and thinking about being thankful and grateful, it made me think about what I had to be grateful for. What I had growing up and what I saw. And even when my parents were struggling financially or like I mentioned in my last episode, my uncle, battled with drug addiction, but still was able to take me to see Hulk Hogan fight at Madison Square Garden for WWF. I forgot which event it was. My aunt, that despite her flaws, taught me how to ride a bike. You know what I'm saying? Those things are what you gotta be grateful for, and that's the positive and the negative. The negative was, yes, we was in the slums. It was bad. My aunt didn't have much. My uncle was a heroin addict. But guess what? The positive was that they didn't let those things stop them from giving or building memories and give me something to remember by. And look back and say, man, that was dope, because he still taught me something, that despite his addiction, despite his struggle, despite the devil that was in him in that addiction, he still showed love to his family. He still took care of his family. He actually raised 4 kids. So that's a positive and a negative. And I feel like sometimes we get so wrapped up on the what we don't have, or what this person has and what this person got or what this person is doing, but not realizing that what's stopping us from doing it is probably us. And we should be grateful for the stuff that we have. Some people feel like, oh, but I could have had this career. And okay, but you might have other things that somebody else is looking from the outside in saying, man, I got a career, but I don't have that. My wife and I had our anniversary last month in October, and we celebrated 17 years married. And when we telling our story, some people like, yo, we need to hear that. Because they're young couples starting out in a situation, and I guess they going through what they going through. They said, we need to hear that. I mean, others were salty and, mope around the house like, oh man, I wish it was me. But for the most part, it was a good vibe. It was a good situation. And it's, I feel like you have to live your truth, right? You have to live your truth. And once you accept that and you live it, now you could start seeing the gems that were in there the whole time, the diamonds in the rough, the knowledge that you was getting, but you didn't see it because you were too busy in it or didn't want to accept it. I remember growing up, us not having a lot, but I guarantee you every Thanksgiving we had food on the table. Every Thanksgiving my parents made sure that there was a meal prepared. Our families got together. We got dressed up like we was rich as hell. But you know what? We were broke too, but we had clothes on. My mom would make my suits and not look like $1 million. My dad, like always, put his suit on and his pinky ring and his Rolex watch and his nice glasses, and he's downstairs toasting to the good life. You know what I'm saying? Listen, don't let me play no rap music because then he shut it down. but he would play his music and the traditional music that I grew up on. That's for another episode. But you start thinking about it and you say, oh, well, hey, I'm grateful. And then I look at what me and my wife have been able to do with our children. And I feel like even in our darkest moments, we still try to make it to our children. We still broke bread together. We still communicated to show them something. Even though there was a dark side to it at times, there was still a bright side to it also. Even though there was times we were yelling back and forth at each other, but then there's that other side of showing love. And yeah, facts. My wife said something. I wish you could have heard it. But, we did what we had to do. And that's what we try to teach our kids, is to be grateful for what we do have and take the memories, you take the good and the bad and make it do what it do when you get older, when you have kids. I know I'm all over the place with this message because I really don't have it in a word to say it just at one time, but it's the fact that the time is coming up that let's not talk about how some pilgrims came over here and broke bread with some Indians. Let's talk about how we need to be giving thanks for what we do have, for what we was able to learn, what we can give to others, what we are privileged to have, and be able to enjoy. Because, like I said, even on my darkest days at home with my parents and financially struggling, and I still had a house to go to. Even though we ain't had no phone in the house, but I still had a house to go to. You know what I'm saying? I remember being having to stand outside when my dad turned the hot water, the steam or something on so that the heat can go through the house. And it's brick outside. I'm waiting for this water to come through. And he's in the basement, turning the key. Once the water comes out, then I'm like, hey, Dad, it's on. And then I come in the house and then we have heat all over the house. Or the fact that the downstairs wasn't really insulated like it should have been. So even with the heat on, we still wearing blankets and hoodies downstairs, I remember my dad sitting on the couch watching Westerns with his pajamas on and then like a towel or something over his head to keep his head warm so he doesn't feel cold. But, it was we had food. We had Thanksgiving. We played music. Family came together. So, that's what I wanted to talk about. It's be grateful for what you have in the spirit of Thanksgiving coming up. Be thankful for the little bit that you might have or not have. Be happy and look instead of focusing on the negativity that people have or what's happening in your life. Like, oh man, I don't have this, I don't have that. Well, you know what? It's okay. What do you have? One time we went to Pensacola and we're from New York. So we didn't know in New York, everything's open. Even on Christmas, everything's open. Maybe for a few hours, but they open. So if you forget to get food, you can at least still get the food. And we just got to Pensacola. We weren't, we was there. So my wife and I forgot to go get the food for, I want to say Christmas. But we said, hey, something's got to be open the next day. Now, Pensacola is there's a base there. There's a lot of military there. students, and when them students go away, the town shuts down. It's like a college town, when the students always got back at home for the summer, for the break, spring break, like the college town, they lose money because nobody's around. So my wife and I, was like, all right, we'll just go to the mall. We'll get the stuff we need. We'll cook a dinner and we'll be good. We get outside the gate, go to the main Walmart, closed. We're like, Walmart closed? Can't be. Go to the one of Blue Angel Highway, closed. So now we're like, man, we got Ava, we got Frankie. It's not like it's just me and her. Well, what are we going to do for dinner? So we had Sonic. That was our Christmas dinner that day. It was Sonic. It was, we had Sonic. We went and bought fast food and we ate fast food in the house and we had Sonic. And I say that, right? I say that because looking back now, we're grateful for that. Because it wasn't the food that was important. It was the moment the memory we created that was important. The time spent with our children that was important. That's what mattered the most to us. So in that negative, the fact that we didn't have food to make Christmas dinner, the fact that we were piss poor planning, we didn't do what we had to do, we found a way to still get some food, create a memory, a thought that me and her now laugh at. And say, hey, you know what? We've seen worse times. Positive and negative. When we was first married and I was recruiting in the Bronx, we couldn't pay the cable bill, so they'll cut it off. And we would have I used to have over 400 movies. And her and I would just watch movies. And it was okay because those were our moments. So even in that negative, financially we were struggling, but guess what? We still found something to do. We may do what we had. And we spent time with each other. So in the season of Thanksgiving, in the moment of creating, while everybody's out running around, getting last minute things for dinner on Thursday, to break bread with their families, amongst this pandemic, this situation that's prevented so many of us from being around each other, think about the positive and the negative. And the positive for me is that I feel my wife and I's relationship has gotten better. It's allowed us to be with our kids more. It's allowed us to focus on things that we want to do and appreciate family, appreciate what we took for granted. I'm only 6 hours from New York. I can go up there whenever I want. Now I can't even go. I'm gonna go to Florida. Now I can't afford it, but I went and spent money on something else, but I could have went to Florida if I really wanted to. Now I can't. And that's my message is appreciate the things you have. Cherish that. Always find the positive and the negative. And be thankful. Make memories. Enjoy it. So this will come out by the time Thanksgiving's out. So happy Thanksgiving to all my friends and family. People that listen to my podcast that I don't even know. Enjoy it. Enjoy it, because we never know when we're not going to be able to enjoy it no more. So be blessed and have a happy Thanksgiving.